All right, we are back on MorningLine, and you know, Teresa had the call just before we went to break, Kelly, and Kelly Luskin's with us from the state talking about human trafficking and sex slavery and the like. She was talking about the courts maybe doing more. And again, I know you're the education side of things with the Department of Health. Is this a public health issue? But I think the TBI is working on that side of it as well. They're making the arrests, bringing them in. Whether or not you want changes, contact your lawmaker about addressing maybe what happens in the courts. The judges can only do what the laws allow them to do in this state. You know, but I think it's evolving. I was asking them during the break, do you know how many calls come into the Tennessee Human Trafficking Hotline? And we're going to put that number up again. I believe, thanks to these efforts of educating, we're seeing more calls coming in. Because you say it's way underreported.
Yeah, I think it's way underreported. I think people aren't aware, and I think this is, I mean, I really want to thank everybody for calling in and having the conversation. I really think that's what needs to happen, is to have conversations with our loved ones, with our friends, to create the awareness and to try and prevent this from being such a problem across this entire country and across the state of Tennessee.
You said the numbers on the website. It's like 94 children each month are trafficked right here in Tennessee. 94. See, I guarantee you, most people out there who are just randomly watching the news do not know that. I didn't know. 94? I mean, I know it happens. 94 children each month are trafficked here in Tennessee. That means either they're being sold into sex slavery or being used to do hard labor somehow or whatever. I don't know what a child would be doing. But I fear that a lot of it's the sex trade.
Yeah, and in those situations, obviously, if it's a minor, it's mandatory reporting for those individuals. And so whether you've reached out to the human trafficking line or to report it through child abuse.
Yeah, it's the law to report it. It's obviously the right thing to do. What about, you know, since we're talking about minors, and not always everyone has a strong family structure, but I'm just thinking about talking to your family about this. All right, if you're a parent with kids, what should you be telling them? And it's a delicate thing because you don't want to scare the crap out of them, you know. But what would you? How do you handle that? What would you say as the Department of Health family member says? Yeah, you know, what do I tell my son or daughter who's in high school?
I think it's just making them aware of the issue and that it exists, and thinking about their own vulnerabilities and trying to make sure they're not putting themselves in those type of situations. To know that it exists. And it's happening right here, and I think a lot of them may get into this and not realize even what they're getting into in the beginning.
Because they're just kids. They're just kids. I'm going to talk to my son now. He's just started his first year in college, but wish I had, you know, just for him to be observant of, you know, his friends. I don't know that, you know, do some of these kids actually go to school? Once they're grabbed, they're not showing up in classes or anything like that.
I would doubt it.
Probably not. But if someone vanished or something like that, I'm going to talk to my son just about being aware of it, like anyone should. He's old enough now as to be an adult to pay attention to it, just like I do now, and like everyone should. And as she said, again, it's the law. If you suspect there's a child being in sex slave, I mean, abuse of any type like that, you report it. Not that you're ever going to be prosecuted, because no one will know if you don't. But how can you live with yourself if you don't? Let's go to Tony. Tony, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Hey, Tony, what's up, man?
Yeah, this is a special message now. You're overlooking the fact that a lot of military soldiers have been in these foreign countries, and they see that, and they come back, they don't say anything about it, because they've been involved in some of this stuff, you know. So it's no shocking surprise to them at all what goes on in China, Vietnamese, and everywhere else. And they still ain't got the problem resolved. The main thing I call you about is still adults marrying these children. It's all over the internet and everywhere. When you get a lot of foreign refugees, people here, they bring the traditional values here to this country. And Nashville has been for a big surprise and a shock, because it's the it city. And the more people we get here, they're not going to forget where they came from. They're going to bring those values with them, traditional ways. But the main thing I say is happening in correction when you put those young guys in. I've seen it all the time while I was working there. They bring them young guys in there with these adults, and they get manipulated, and they get passed around. But so it's nothing new. It's just not coming out. The more you could able to travel and go to these different countries, you see it.
Yeah.
And
I don't know. I mean, yeah, culturally speaking, again, it's different. In different cultures, then people come into this country one way or the other. I just view it as crime. Okay, I hear what Tony's saying, and you hear about things in the jails, and whether or not we're talking about marrying children and things like this, which is wrong. But I don't want to mix up, whether it's cultural issues or different things from other countries with the bottom line. In this country, it's happening, but it's just criminal. It's criminal, and I would venture to guess that in a lot of these cases, if the right steps are taken, you would argue it's preventable.
Right, and I think it is preventable in, enriching our society and making our society stronger, so that people don't end up in these vulnerable situations. And just, I think the biggest effort we're trying to bring to this right now is to just bring more awareness to the issue. And that's why, January is Human Trafficking Month. Right. That's why we're doing the Red Sand Project.
Remind folks again about that. I think that's pretty cool. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, so that's not until the summer.
Yeah, that'll be the week of July 29th to August 3rd. And all across the state. It's not going to be just one day where everybody pours the sand. Everybody may pour the sand different days that week, but just that whole week, just trying to talk about it and bringing more awareness to it, just as we are now, and just starting the conversation to help prevent the issue from happening.
Now you have a new governor taking over now. What's your take on, no one is for this, everyone wants to address it, but do you have any sense of this new government and the new governor being in place, what his approach will be, just continuing what you've been doing? Are there changes?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope, I think it's on everybody's radar. Like you said, it's a crime, and we don't want to continue to have crime occurring in the state of Tennessee and across the country.
And by the way, do you think is it more prevalent in like what Tony was saying, in the big cities like Nashville, or do you also see this happening, I would guess maybe less frequently, in say some small little rural community outside in Pickett County or something like that?
I think it's happening all over there.
Really?
I would think
it would be happening wherever there's the most money.
Right, wherever there's the most money, wherever there's a market for it.
Okay, and even more easy maybe to hide under the radar in a more busy area. But you're right, it can be anywhere. I'm wondering if some of the people in some of these smaller rural communities, that's where they maybe target some of the at-risk youths and are able to grab them, or they grab them off the streets here. It's just hard for me to imagine it's that bad. And I think a lot of people don't realize how serious it is. Still, that's the whole effort on this. Is that your sense when do you guys go into schools also at all?
I don't know that we've gone to schools and talked about this issue specifically. We obviously talk about other public health issues in the schools.
Well, give out the numbers one more time, just the hotline, and we'll do that again after I say goodbye. It's on screen, but this number is the one you call if you have a thought on maybe someone who's caught up in this.
Right, right. And there's also a text too. It's Be Free. You can text HELP to Be Free, which is 233-722.
All right, so you text that.
Because it may be easier for the victim themselves to do a text message than versus call.
So yeah, these hotline numbers are up there potentially for a victim themselves, or again, it's also for people like you and I that maybe suspect something like this going on. Make the phone call, and again, 855-558-6484. And knowing again what to look for. You guys have a great list of red flags. You'll sense if something's weird about someone, right? Now, yeah, I'm a little odd, but I'm just a little off kilter. But when you're working or dealing with someone that's maybe younger and is not free to leave or come as they go, unpaid, very little pay money or tips for what they do, works excessively long hours or weird hours like in the middle of the night, even though some of us have to do that here at Channel 5. We are 24 hours news, but you know what I'm talking about. Not allowed to take breaks, fearful, anxious, lacks control of his own money. All of these things could be potential. I would just err on the side of caution on that. You can call if you suspect something, report it, and then give them the information. And I bet the state's pretty proactive on it. TBI will be if they think there's something serious. But yeah, take it seriously and spread the word. And Red Sand Project, you should come on again before the Red Sand Project.
That'd be great.
Right, in July. Thank you so much for coming on. It's a pleasure, and we'll talk about this whenever you guys want. All right. Take a break. When we come back, pen and paper again, just in case. We'll have that hotline number up one more for you, and a programming note right after this. Stay with us.